Good morning, everybody. Quick sip. Click on my little bit of secretarial stuff. And it's time to get started. I'm Abby Hagyard. And if you're just joining us for the first time, this is episode 309 on this crazy journey. And this crazy journey is in the midst of taking the most extraordinary pivotal moment in its existence. We have some exciting, fabulous, amazing, and very relieved news that everything is coming together for this incredible, completely groundbreaking experience. And before I talk to you about it, I want to show you something very cool. So lots of people are interested in friendship bracelets and stuff, and I like the wristbands because they don't get caught on things and they're fun. And I have something for Pivotry, and I have of course a slime green one for You Can't Do That, and I have an orange one for all the Care Bears. This one arrived in the mail on Friday, and I'm so excited. So it's two colors, right? See, it's two colors. It's kind of Pink Panther pink and neon orange, and it is the official Unforgettables wristband. Is that awesome or what? Okay, so enough about me. we had an extraordinary weekend in every possible way, shape, and form, and it was the reason for the conversation on the video today, because these things happen, and I've never really understood how they happen. I know why they happen. I'm almost guaranteed. And the thing is that they happen to all of us. And what I'm talking about are the cheese doodle days. Now, for those of you who are new here, my cheese doodle expression is usually reserved for people who bring nothing but empty drama. You know, they're kind of crunchy, kind of a chemical nothing taste, and there's no sustenance of any kind. There's not even really it's like eating a styrofoam cup on purpose, and it's covered in powder that gets on everything. So you look like you've been eating oranges. You look like you've rolled in gold dust. You look ridiculous. And it does nothing. Don't eat all the cheese doodles because you're going to have no room for supper. And no, but they're really good. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. So you go to the trouble, you're chewing on it, you're taking the time, you have no room left over for sustenance and substance. And we have days like that. And we know people like that. And we've been through events like that. And what I do by calling them cheese doodle moments is I dialed down the frustration and the panic and the silliness, the empty drama, the empty crunchy drama, because it's so easy to get lifted up and floated away when it happens, right? So, and the reason I'm having coffee more early is because I slept in. I looked at the clock and I said, "Oh, look, it's All right. I found this something. It's got a little bit of a Belgian chocolate hint that I'm adding to the coffee. It's quite wonderful. So, backing up before the cheese doodles, a long time ago, I decided to get into show business. I had tried all kinds of other business, and I found them lacking in enough challenge. And the universe says, "Oh, you like challenge, do you? Okay, watch this." And the thing that I love about the entertainment industry is that there is so much opportunity to bring ourselves to a challenging place. There is so much opportunity to discuss with people all the things that make them happy, all the things that make them smile, all the things that make them get up in the morning and say, "I'm sure we've got this. I'm almost entirely certain we've got this." And race into the challenge that's waiting. This is, for me, what the entertainment industry does. It asks of us, what would you like to try today? And, you know, I've lived that every single moment from the moment I realized that this was meant to be for me. And at the same time, when you're in that kind of state, when you're in an advanced state of tap dancing, because we open in 15 minutes, um, you can get carried off and carried away by the small stuff that is just when you're grating cheese and these little tiny bits of cheese that they're just kind of they're on the cutting board and stuff, and you have to wipe them off. You might throw them in the salad, or you might just toss them. It's the little tiny bits and crumbly pieces of the cheese doodles that can really leach into the excitement and the momentum and the commitment and the focus. And I have spent so many years recognizing those things, deliberately watching for them, and then saying, okay, there you are. All right, so we'll just do that and keep going, because we have lots of stuff to look for to make sure everything is awesome. So Pivotry in Motion has been a project, a process, a plan for me since 2020, partly because of the sudden onslaught and confusion brought about by the global pandemic, and partly because I had hit a wall creatively. I was surprised by a turn of events, and pretty much everything fell apart, and I had to rebuild and reset and refocus and reprioritize in order to justify all the time and love and passion and commitment I had already invested. So there really was no time to spend agonizing over the disaster, because, by the way, we open in 15 minutes. And in that process, in that picking myself up and resetting and getting myself back on track without the elements I had believed would be part of what was going to happen, I realized that a lot of people aren't trained that way. They're not wired that way. Most of us aren't really wired that way from birth. We develop it, we learn it. And I thought, I think I might be onto something, because I had begun to notice that people were responding in a very unhelpful for them, for everyone way, with all of the crazy and unpredictables and uncertainties and serious concerns that everyone felt as the pandemic progressed. And I've been very fortunate in the writing part of my career. I've written books with and for a few therapists, and in order for me to be able to write with them and for them, they have to tell me everything they know. So I kind of get a free education, and then they pay me. They all eventually realize that, and they're all going, "Wait a minute." I'm going, "I know, right?" So in my recognition that there was a hole in the fabric of the universe that I might be equipped to restitch, I reached out to them and I said, am I on a track here? Am I seeing something that we're too busy, we're not really looking at? And they all said, yes, yeah, you really are seeing something. And given my military kid, oh look, it's Thursday, we must be moving, life, I'm trained and I'm polished and I'm practiced at starting over and over and over. And most people are not. So that was the genesis. That was the beginning, the little seeds of what if for the Pivotry in Motion project. I interviewed 35 people. I have a couple of books that are in kind of mid to final draft wobbly stages. And then in the midst of that progressing and me feeling, okay, this is really a direction, because what I can do with it once I launch the concept, that's my new platform for starting the performing part of my career again, because I hadn't really performed since I left Ottawa, since all the shows basically ended, all the television work was done, and there was nowhere for me to work, which was why I started writing. So pivot, 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 pivot. And I thought, well, this, and when you come back and everybody says, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. How have you been? What are you doing these days? Everyone wants to know that. And what we all want to be able to say is, I have the most exciting campaign, the most exciting, fun project. You're going to love it. Because otherwise, what we appear to be to ourselves and others is a person still doing the same old thing. The one hit wonder, coming round again. Are you still selling that blah, blah? Are you still writing that thing? Are you still wearing no, you're not. Oh my gosh. Gosh, I love what you're wearing. If we don't change changes around us. And if we don't move forward and we don't choose our direction and we don't take aim at the things we want, we begin to recede in the distance. And we are perceived in the hearts and minds of everyone as whatever happened to, rather than, ooh, what she got for us this time. What are the rules of this game? It's a psychological attitude and focus in marketing and in career planning and rebranding. And most definitely it is the heartbeat of show business. So this is what I had been working on. And then this extraordinary conflagration of events happened on the 9th of October of this year. The craziest set of circumstances. I'd had an idea how to underwrite all of the work I was planning to do, am planning to do with Pivot to Emotion. And when I say underwrite, the burden for the producer is that the producer always underwrites everything. We front end load the costs and the sweat equity. And we live in hope, in the fond hope, that we have the best ideas and the right intentions, that we are able to get enough tickets sold that our efforts are rewarded and there's a profit at the end of the day. That's how it works. And I had said, what if there was a smarter way to do this? What if there was a way for me to create a boat and that people are in it from the beginning? What if we pre-sell? What if we pre-promote? What if we pre-package the concept and explain all the things that are in it for our audience, for our partners, for our buyers? What if we do it that way instead? What happens? What happens? And so I did. And along the way, I met my creative partner in this process. And we developed the unforgettables, because that is who you all are. That is what our dreams are. That is what our efforts are. All of it is unforgettable. Well, good morning, Eddie. How wonderful to see you. So Dewey Sean, who lives in Florida, who is part of the entertainment industry scene, he does half a dozen things. And one of the things that he does is a lot of social media. He's an influencer. He connects with lots of people. And in our conversations, I realized, well, he's the reach and I'm the reputation, because I was here first. Na. And so we talked about a strategy. And the strategy was, what if we create the vision, the purpose, the definition based around the people it's for? What if we sell our concept to people who are waiting for someone to pay attention to who they are and what they need and what they're missing? And what we realized in our conversations back and forth, Dewey and I, is that nostalgia entertainment is really the glue that holds everything together. The reason that people are so interested in meeting Mom and the Care Bears and the actress who created them, the reason people are so interested when they visit Dewey and they see his massive massive collection, his Nostalgia Entertainment studio of memorabilia. And when they run into him at conventions and they come to my booths and they come to my shows and they come to his stand-up, what they're looking for is a connection to something that makes them feel the way they felt the last time. It makes them feel, oh yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be. You know, when you get into bed late at night and you're tired and the pillow is just right, it's just right, and you say, oh yeah, okay, everything's good, everything's good. This is what nostalgia does for people. And so I said, well, my path and my project are ideally suited. Let's do this together. Let's work on this together. Let's get in this boat together and gather the people who are excited to get there with us. Good morning, Freddie. It's wonderful to see you. Let's do this in a way that gives everyone their own excitement, their own seat in the boat, their own oar, their own vision of what it's going to be like and what it is like as we head for the horizon. Let's create a moment where everyone simultaneously is willing to leave the dock and get in the boat and say, I'm in. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Because arguably, this is a time when everything is very uncertain. This is a time, this morning, I looked out the window. Yeah, it's the first freezing sideways ick of the season. It's like going this way. It's not snow. It's not rain. It doesn't know what it wants to be. And so it's miserable, and it's making us miserable if we have to go out in it. It's that kind of weather. So special. And so when Dewey and I were talking last night, we were talking with his Viking friend who's saying, do you have another seat in the boat? We said, yeah, we got all kinds of seats in the boat. And what we were really talking about, in addition to all the plans we've made, because this is our launch week, this is our launch, and I'm getting to it for you, is we were talking about what happens in the run-up to. In the run-up, what happens is people who are not keeping their eye on everything trip and stumble and get distracted by the little, grated cheese crumbs, the bits of cheese doodle that are in their path. They're looking here, they're not looking down. Or they're running and then they say, oh, what's that? And then they run into something that's right in front of them. And so while I was running around putting pieces in place and saying, is this how I want to say this week? Is this what we're doing this week? Dewey was juggling 50 different bags and boxes of cheese doodles at several events, taking care of a lot of things on the road, crazy, busy. And every single person on my team got sick. He was busy juggling flaming chainsaws, brilliantly, I might add, brilliantly. And while he was juggling chainsaws, every single person with tasks to do hit a health wall and fell down. Boom. And so when I reached out to say, okay, so hello. One was sick with this, one had that, somebody had a health procedure, somebody else this. And I thought, all of you? And then I'm messaging Dewey and he's off the grid because he's busy doing it. I'm thinking, okay, no, I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. And it was complicated and it was confusing. And the temptation, and here's the meat of our talk today, the temptation to be carried off by the confusion, the temptation to be distracted from the passion and the purpose and the plan is off the charts. Cheese doodle people, by my definition, have nothing better to do than, right? And so since they have nothing better to do than, they tend to look for the thing that causes the utmost damned astonishment because it's more bang for your buck. If they have nothing constructive to contribute, then what they're going to do is they're going to with all kinds of unconstructive stuff, throw into the mix and say, well, I just wondered what would happen if we put that into the, no, eh? Oh, so it's curdled now. Oh, so we have to start all over and we're out of eggs. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what cheese doodle moments are. And so how do we cope without saying, you know what, get out of the way, and compensating for people whose job it is to be and do? Now, the temptation is to say, look, you're having a terrible time. You go and rest and I'll do all your work too. That's the temptation, because I'm fine. I'm fine. And I'm going to be fine when I take on that work and that work and that work and that work. And no, I'm not. And no, I'm not. However, what we get caught up in is the absolute mad, crazy urgency to keep the momentum going the way it had been planned. We have a plan. We have to stick to the plan. Well, no, you see, if we decide that we're going to enter the Dakar rally, is it Dakar, the Dakar rally, and our navigator comes down with the flu, are we going to keep driving without a navigator? Can we get another navigator? Or do we think we're going to drive with the map on the wheel? See, that would have been me in the old days. No, I got this. I got this. No, get another navigator. Say, this is the way the map is up. See what you can do. Find plan C. Plan A is keep going. Plan B is stop. Plan C is, all right, what's the other option? And the reason plan C, door number 3, is so healthy, and this is the strategy, is that door number 3 allows us to reinvest, to re-believe in our creative abilities. We don't have to remain stuck. I'll take this on and that on. I'm okay. No, I'm not. For me in a previous life. Yes, Eddie. Yes, exactly. I can do everything. No, you can't. No, we can't. I don't need anybody while they're all lying down saying, is anybody going to peel me a grape? Oh, yeah, I can do that. No. You need to have a different plan. We need to go in with a different plan. And so what happened last night in my call with Dewey, we have these video calls to get ourselves reset, to get ourselves in sync, to be able to line up our purpose and our energies and our focus. It's very cool. I suddenly realized that an idea that we had been working on, an idea that we'd had, that I felt was fundamental to how this week we're describing and pitching how magnificent and fun and magical this is. I realized it was incorrect. I realized that in the middle of us having this conversation, I realized the better plan. And I saw it happen in his face, and he saw it happen in mine simultaneously. And I said, and he said, I think so. I think so. And then the two of us are like 5-year-old giddy kids. Oh my God. And we completely reset and simplified and leanified, if that's even a possible word, minimalized the stuff and nonsense, the fuss, the work, the planning, the logistics, the endless details. We dialed them way down, way down. And I said, well, this is what we needed to do. We needed to have this weekend. We needed to have this quiet time at the end of the weekend saying, what the hell was that? We needed to sit and say, what, and then reset. Our conversation yesterday was not a full reset. It was an essential reset of the core value and purpose that is the underpinning, that is the platform for what we mean when we say unforgettables. We found it by just being there and allowing it to kind of walk into the room all by itself and say, how you doing? Here I am. Well, what do you think? How do you like me now? We both saw it at the same time. We both laughed. We both said, okay, that weekend was worth it. That weekend that had everything upside down was showing us what it can be like when we take on too much and say, no, I got this. No, I'm fine. And somebody introduces, as we are pedaling frantically to cross the Tour de France finish line, and somebody takes a stick and goes, foop, in the spokes. And the bike stops, we fall over. And everybody cycling behind us falls over too. What do we have in our little arsenal that prepares us when everything hits the wall? What do we have? What do we have on a beautiful day when we set out on our little boat and all of a sudden the wind picks up and the clouds gather and we hear thunder in the distance and the waves get bigger? And in between the waves, we see some kind of sea monster. Are we ready? Are we going to figure out what to do? Are we going to panic? Are we going to turn around and try and beat it back to shore? Are we going to find our way to navigate through the cheese doodles to get where we meant to go? What are we going to choose? Each and every time we are faced with cheese doodles, we have an option. We have plan A, we have plan B, we also have plan C. We also always have door number 3. And you know, it's very timely. Eddie joining us this morning. Very recently, Eddie was caught up in the midst of an entire cheese doodle little world, completely overrun with it. And it kind of crept up on him. It was insidious. And the next thing I knew, when we were having our regular chats, he was all wound up, all focused on, all desperately tap dancing, trying to manage and navigate and fix cheese doodle stuff that had nothing to do with the job, with the responsibilities, with the reason they came. It was just an assortment of amateurish behavior that had nothing to do with practical and profitable, and the customer is our best friend. And Eddie, of all people who knows this better than anyone, found himself flailing around in it. And I said, what are you doing? Well, blah, 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 blah. And I said, and yes, so what's that got to do with you? What's the job today? Well, I was blah, 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 but blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, the but is the but. The but is just stuff. The but is their personal stuff they should leave in the car. Write it in the later folder. Leave it in the car. The person who owns the business doesn't come in crying about something. The person who owns the business gives great thanks that they have the business to focus on, so they don't think about the thing they're crying about. What I did all this last weekend was look for things to focus on that I knew I could handle while everybody else was down for the count. It does happen. The confabulation, the cascade of coincidences. When there's that much of a cascade, you think to yourself, okay, I get it. There's a message and I can't see it. I should stop tap dancing, right? And the universe is going, I don't know, it's up to you. It's up to you. But by the way, you forgot your tap shoes. So I'm having this conversation like this on the phone with you. I'm doing this. And he said, what are you doing with your hands? I can't. It's the only way I can get rid of it. It's like a steam kettle. You know, he said, has anybody ever told you you look like a windmill? Yes, they have. What's your point? He said, do you do this thing in public? And I said, only when I'm telling a story about this. And his friend, the Viking, said, that's pretty interesting work there. I'm going to go. You guys have a chat. I'm going to go. What's she doing? And then, gradually calm it all down. Feeling better? Yes, thank you. The reason I'm talking about the cheese doodle moments is not the cheese doodles. It's what we do. It's what we do when we are passionate about something. It's what we do when we believe in something. It's what we do when we notice that other people who said, yeah, I'm in, count me in, that they're not there. We have a choice. We always have choices. We can, working out the kinks. Yes, exactly, Freddie. We're getting in step. It's people who haven't really known each other that long, and you have to work out the kinks and figure out that when I dip, oh, do you always do that? Well, that's it. Show me how you do that. Not, what are you doing? Because we're all learning. We're all getting in step. When we hit the wall of cheese doodles and people who said, yeah, you can count on me, we are given an opportunity to realize that we needed to ask them to define their terms. We needed to be responsible to ourselves and say, what do you mean by that? How does that work in your day? What does that do? Excuse me. I'm just going to make that go away. There we go. What does that do when you say I'm in and other people don't understand you? So give me a little backstory. Instead of, what do you mean by that? Give me your backstory. Put it in context for me. I find myself doing that a lot because as a military kid, I would be out of the country, away from the pattern and the routine that morphs and changes as routines do. And when I would come back, I would be completely out of sync and not know what's going on. And in conversations, people would say, well, you remember last year? And I would say, no, I was sick that day. I wasn't sick. I was somewhere else. Oh, that's right. That's right. You weren't here. So what happened? And that's what we all forget to do. We forget to ask, what do you mean when you say that? If you have 24 hours in a day and you say, this is my top priority, how many other priorities do you have? Can you actually fit them all in a 24-hour day? Are you dreaming in Technicolor? And God bless you. However, we do have to navigate our way from there to the other side. And when we don't stop to ask those questions, when we make an assumption that because we're excited and we're excited when we're with them and they appear to be excited, that they are excited by our definition, we owe it to everybody and the process and the project and the audience and the outcome to make sure that we define our terms and we come to agreements and we write things down so that we can all refer back and say, so, oh gosh, we said 10:30. Are we all going to be able to make it for 10:30? No, actually, because I've got this. So let's revise it. Let's not say 10:30. What's a good number? Let's all pick a good number. Working out the kinks and polishing the finished product. Yes. So by our definition, by our own set of standards, by our preconceived ideas of the way it's supposed to be based on the way it has been. This is all the stuff that we forget to do in our excitement to get everybody in for the surprise party and yell surprise and open the presents and have the cake. We forget to consider that it's raining and where's everybody going to put their raincoats and their boots? We forget to consider all kinds of little things because we have our eyes solely on the prize. So my wake-up call this weekend was to sit down and do some deep breathing The reason I'm laughing, as I was going to say, catch your breath. Yes. I took a St. John's ambulance course once, and somebody said, what do you do if somebody hurts themselves and you realize that they've broken a bone in their arm or leg and it's protruding from the skin? And my answer was, I sit down, put my head between my knees so that I don't pass out. Because if I don't do that, I'm no help to anybody. I literally said that. The St. John's guy, he's like, seriously? I thought, that's the wrong answer. Except that it's not. It's not. I mean, obviously you're supposed to, but you have to make sure you're going to be able to, right? You have the sight of blood. And he's just looking at me and he said, why are you taking this course? What are you using it for? You get a badge for Girl Scouts. Oh, okay. Here, there you go. So in my detoxification last evening, in my conversation with Dewey and his Viking friend, I my boat settled. Everything came to rest. The waves stopped crashing and hurling themselves against me and themselves and each other, and I realized that everything, in the fullness of time, when you look back, just one of those cheese doodle weekends. In the moment, though, and this is where the concern is, in the moment, we allow the monsters and the anticipation of the monsters to loom large, when in fact, they're just thoughts in our heads. They're just what ifs. And when they're born of panic, when they're born of a sense of I have no control over this, when we're born of this is the plan and I have to do it and I have to stay, I can see, oh, a belief thing happening, right? When we are rigidly fixed to something we thought was the only possibility, we lose all of the magic. We lose all of the wonder. Does that mean that we just throw plans away when people don't show up? No, no. It means that we have to give ourselves permission to say, this is not the way it's going to be. This just temporarily happens to be the way it is. This is not a sign of things to come. This is a sign of cascades of coincidences. This is a sign of people not really practiced at change. And as time comes closer and closer to the moment when we get ready to leave the dock and get in the boat, there's a lot of hesitation waltz going on. Because brave and ready to take on change, to leverage change, is scary the first time and the second time. Because change has a momentum all its own. And what we're doing is we're getting in step with it. My brilliant artist friend, Matt Urquhart, has drawn for me the most brilliant addition to his caricature, Glamorous Abbey in the Viking ship. What he's created for me underneath the Viking ship is a breaking tsunami. It's this huge, massive wave. And he's placed it under my Viking ship so that it looks in the picture as though my Viking ship is riding the crest of a breaking tsunami, not fearfully watching inundation, but owning the momentum by being in the right place, by positioning to be ready and facing the right way, to allow that energy, that momentum, that force of nature to carry me where I want to be. And when he gave it to me, when he showed it to me, I cried. Because That's exactly what it's like when you believe in your dreams and you're in that momentum, when you're on that curl and you can feel the wind. It is so exciting and exhilarating. And because I have been there before, and because every new brilliant concept that presents itself and says, what do you think about this? How do you like me now? This is my other good side. I know how wonderful it is. What I have to remember is that the people who join me for the first time, this is their first time. They have no idea. And so in a lot of cases, this one getting sick and that one having that, and this is the other thing, and something else going on, and three other things. Some of them are unavoidable. Many of them are fixable, are changeable. And they didn't realize that there's a certain resetting and reorienting of priorities that has to happen. So what this past weekend gave to me, my cheese doodle days, was an opportunity to see where my team, each member, is, how ready they actually are to step in the boat, what helpful tools I can show them how to use. When Dewey and I were talking about the crazy busyness of the weekend, and I said, "Are you going to be cutting back on any of that?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." "You a little tired?" "Yeah, I am." "Okay, then, as long as you realize." "Oh yeah, I do." And we were always on the same team, always focused on the same goal, always looking through clear glasses. What we had to learn, what I had to learn, what he had to see, was that this is a new partnership. This is a new concept. This is a new way of living and being and doing and seizing the day. And Dewey's been working so diligently and so passionately, moving his career forward in the past few years, saying, okay, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be, this is what I'm doing, this is my sets and my strategies. And then we met and we discovered how remarkably, brilliantly wonderful they intertwine. And we were talking about his very busy, hectic weekend. And I said, so on a scale of 1 to 10, on the cheese doodle side, and he said, yeah, it was my first opportunity to see what you've been saying, to live what you've been living, to get that in the moment there are decisions that we've never had to make, but now we have to make them. Because in that great rush, in that furious grating of the cheese, there are a lot of little things that fall to the wayside. And they're kind of like that baggage, that invisible baggage that we carry. They get in the way. It's all over my shoe. And what is this? And you find it in your sweater next week. We have to figure out how to keep our focus here and pay attention to the bits and pieces on the side and make sure that the path is clear. That's a very difficult dance to learn. And it was a tremendous opportunity for the two of us to see where each other is and how, when we had this chance to sit down and talk, how remarkably focused and compatible we are in the staying true on the course. Totally different life for him, totally different life for me, totally different worlds that we inhabit. And yet, innately, we have very similar goals and aspirations and priorities. It's very, very, very comforting. And also, it was a tremendous opportunity to discover, before we had taken really big steps, if we needed to pull back, if it maybe wasn't a possibility, if we had been riding momentum with our eyes closed. And happily, that's not what it was. Happily, it's awesome. Happily, all the people that we've been encouraging and nurturing and saying, you're going to love this, you're going to love this, we're not going to disappoint them. It really is exciting and fabulous. And we're launching, we're talking, we're dribbling it out this week. And our focus is this weekend. It's the American Thanksgiving on Thursday, and on Friday, it's Black Friday. And our opportunity, what we're giving people, we're launching it exactly on time to say, perfect gift for the nostalgia enthusiast on your list. Perfect gift. Easy to wrap, simple to buy, affordable in pretty much every way you can imagine. That's what we're packaging. That's what we're massaging the language for. And so we had our reset moment. We had an in-depth meeting, and we realized that all the stuff that happened to him and all the stuff that happened in my world, it gave us both simultaneously, different places, a chance to see, okay, that's that boat, that's on that turbulent sea. Not for me. That's them. I'm going this way. That was our moment simultaneously, separately and apart, to recognize distractions that didn't work for us. Could we manage them? Yes. Did we manage them? Yes. Do we want to do that again? No, not really. No. All good. And so in this call today, in this conversation today, in this video today, as I stand on the dock and I have one foot up and one hand on the gunnel, winter, changes of season, changes of priorities, changes of purpose and plans and strategies that swirl around us all the time, always are swirling around us all the time. This is a terrible time. No more terrible than the last million terribles. And we all survived. We all found our way through, up, over, around, inside. We all reached this moment together. We're here. Scarred? Yep. Bruised? Yep. Little triggered? Yep. Tending to tilt at windmills? Yes. But essentially okay on the inside? Absolutely. And if we're not, that's why we're here. If we're not okay, and this is the fundamental part of the unforgettables, Dewey and I have realized that one of the reasons people come to shows, one of the reasons people prioritize a concert, prioritize getting together, prioritize going out of our way to be with, for, in, on, under, supporting, driving, is because of the way it felt the last time. Nostalgia entertainment is a touchstone. It's an opportunity when I pick up my little palm-sized Care Bears that were gifted to me at a show. It's an opportunity for me. I want to make sure you can see them. It's an opportunity for me to say, I remember the days we recorded those. I remember the days they said, so everybody gets a song. And I said, when you say everybody gets a song, what do you mean by that? You don't mean me singing, do you? Oh yes, 3 times. 3 songs for you, my dear. Why? Why? Because you're 3 bears. And each bear has a song all its own. And I said, are you sure you really want me to do that? And they all said, yes, it's always be fabulous. And it was very colorful and interesting and surprising, fabulous for everyone when they realized how I sing. Nevertheless, when you find that 1984 vintage album, that nostalgia entertainment piece, you look on the back and make sure it says 1984. Yeah. And it's the introduction theme song for all of the 6 or 7 or 10 bears that we had at the time. I'm 3 of those bears. I'm not singing like Abby. I'm singing like Friend Bear and Wish Bear and Love a Lot Bear. And when I see those albums, when somebody comes up to me holding it at an event and I'm going, oh my God, make sure that the good glassware is not in the house when you play that. Shatter, shatter, shatter. And they said, no, I've played it. It's wonderful. Oh my God. Will you sign the album? Yes, of course I will. What does that do? It immediately takes me back to the studio. It immediately takes me back to the other crazy actors and the director and the producers and the artists. Immediately, zam, zip, zowie, and swoosh, I'm back in that studio. And for anybody who buys the album or comes to see me or has a bear or just wants to chat, have a hug, it takes us right back to that last moment that was awesome. That's what nostalgia entertainment does. It's a creating of an unforgettable connection and community and belonging and safety and curiosity and wonder and passion and excitement. It's giving us back those first times in a different way because we already know how amazing they became. This is what the unforgettables stand for. This is why so proud to wear the bracelet. So excited when you subscribe, when you say, I want to belong to the unforgettables. How do I do that? What we're doing is we're creating a membership. We're creating a community. And it's a subscription membership. Inexpensive, easy peasy. And what that entitles you to is connections directly with us, one-on-ones, taking part, but interacting more efficiently than these videos. When Dewey and I are talking to each other, when we're interviewing people, when we're interviewing you, when we're reminiscing, when we're talking about the anticipation of events we're going to, when we're explaining what's going to happen, when we're putting together an event, when we're getting tickets organized and who wants to be part of the cast and crew to pull this off and make it magical, we're literally building the boat, plank by plank, anchoring in the seats, organizing the oars, getting ready to undo the ropes. And this week, we're inviting people to take advantage of that first magical pre-Christmas, pre-launch opportunity. I'm going to be talking about it endlessly this week. It's going to be on our Unforgettables Facebook group. If you're not a member, you can find us. We are the Unforgettables. If you're not sure, reach out to me. All right. And our website is just about nearly almost ready. And you will be able to find how you subscribe, where you subscribe, and what happens next. And what this accomplishes is we know exactly how many boats we're going to need to head out on this magnificent adventure. When you tell us that you're in, then we know that we need to save you a seat. That's what the subscription membership is for. Rather than building the boat and hoping people come, we're letting everybody know the boats are getting ready. Do you want a window or an aisle seat on this magnificent ride? And when we do, when we launch, when we set sail, we're going to have little bags, invisible bags, into which everybody, when they stumble and find the cheese doodle crumbles, we can put them in the bags and toss them over the side. We don't want to litter the ocean. That's why they're in the bags. And we'll toss them over the side and we can use them as bumpers when we come up to another dock, right? Practical thinking all the time. So the conversation today, how do we deal with those cheese doodle days? What do we do? Do we let them capsize us? Do we allow them to shift us off course? Do we give up? Do we imitate windmills? Or do we say, There's got to, do we? Or should we say, where's door number 3? Where's plan C? Where's my later folder? Why is it always about them when it's really supposed to be about me? Our cheese doodle moments give us the opportunity to say, I choose me. I choose to walk away from empty drama that gets me nowhere. That's a stalling tactic that I have no time for. What do we do? And I want to hear. I want to hear what you do and how you maintain your focus, what you do to reset your purpose and your passion. When all these things are crazy and they're screaming and yelling and tugging at your at your pant legs, mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, daddy. What do you do? How do you give yourself permission to recognize them, acknowledge them, and then set them out of harm's way and carry on with your day? What do you do? What I do is I remember why I came. What does it do? Who is it for? Why does it matter? What does it change? What's in it for me today? Pretty cool, right? So keep posted. Check out We Are the Unforgettables. It's our Facebook group. We just launched it at the end of last week. We already have over 250 members. You need to join. You need to be in on it. All kinds of cool things going on there. Okay? And I will be dribbing and drabbing and giving out information about how the launch is taking place. It's taking place for this weekend, for Thanksgiving USA, for Black Friday. And we're going to build the momentum, build our own tsunami so we can sail to where we want to be. Thank you for watching. What's in it for me? The golden rule of pivotry. Exactly, Eddie. Exactly. Kick those cheese doodles out of the way and face forward and march on. Exactly. What we are doing together, thee and me, is remembering that magic is waiting. Always. Always. We have to remember to face the right way. You know those memes that I post of opportunity behind, tapping on the shoulder? That's what this is. The weekend was my exercise this last weekend, remembering that opportunity's over here. And whatever that was is a cheese doodle moment. Helpful lesson, important lesson, full of gratitude after. And if you have questions and you are struggling with these things, like Eddie was, and Susan has been, reach out to me. Let's see what we can do. Chris says something really, really lovely. He said, you know, you're better than a therapist. You're a friend. And I said, well, I do my best. I do my best. And by the way, never better than a therapist. When we have the really serious problems, we need them because they have a gift. So with all of that said, and so much to do, thank you for taking the time this morning. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for making this a priority. These videos would not have happened if it wasn't for you. These videos would not be what they have become if you weren't here with me, making it great and magical every time. 309. Incredible. So be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. They're going through stuff just the way we are, and they deserve our hugs too. And I will have more news, more exciting things on Thursday when you join me again, because this is the week that is. It's amazing. And I hope you take care. If you're dealing with weather, you know what? It's a fairly serious bunch of cheese doodles when it's actual precipitation, when it's actual high wind. Be good to you. Take the extra time. Leave the extra time. Wear the extra sweater. Make sure you've got something in the trunk or beside you in the car in case you get stalled or stranded. Okay? because we care. You're part of the group. We want to know you're okay. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for watching.